Beetlejuice is a movie that came out the year I was born, believe it or not, and I had never seen it until now. The main reason there is because of probably the subject matter. This was in the ballpark of horror, even though it was more kid or family-centric horror. I grew up in a household that just didn't watch them. Maybe I was sheltered, maybe not, I don't know, but throughout the years, I just never got around to watching it until now, especially given the fact that the news came out that they're making Beetlejuice 2, it's on its way. So I thought I should probably watch this movie. It essentially stars Michael Keaton as the titular Beetlejuice. However, he's not the main character. I was actually surprised to see his character doesn't really show up until almost an hour in. It's actually focusing more so on Alec Baldwin's character, as well as his character's wife, as they find themselves dead. They end up in a car that flies off of a bridge and lands in water, which ultimately drowns them, and they find themselves to be a ghost. And they are locked to their house, making it a haunted house. Soon after their deaths, a few people start moving into their house, and they try all their haunted tactics to try to get these people out of the house, but it doesn't really work. Everything that they do just makes those people want to stay there more. So they need extra help. So they call upon this character named Beetlejuice, who is an eccentric spirit, ghoul, whatever you call him, that knows extra tricks to get these people out of the house that he will help them with. But he's got a few hidden agendas going on at the same time. This movie, of course, was directed by Tim Burton, and you feel it all the way. And I'll be 100% honest here. I am so disappointed that I've never seen this movie, especially when I was a kid, because when I was a kid, I would have loved this movie to death. As an adult, I appreciate it to death based off of how much creativity was going on behind the scenes in making this world not only comical, but also dark and haunting in a way that might stick with you, especially if you're a child. A lot of the ghosts in the afterlife, for instance, if you sit there to think about it for a second, it's actually kind of messed up. I mean, one of the people that they go for help is this old lady who's smoking a cigarette. And it isn't long before you realize that she died from getting her throat slit, so she's got this big gap in her neck. And when she smokes, the smoke just comes out of the neck. I thought that was brilliant. You also have this flat guy who's also making like flat puns and flat jokes. Before you realize why he's flat, he's got tire marks on him and he was run over by a truck or something. Ridiculous. And there's another guy that's like touring them around the afterlife. He is hanging by the neck. The way that Tim Burton was able to weave all of these characters in a way that was actually comedic and creative at the same time, I thought was brilliant. Today, they would never make this movie. I'm curious on what they'll do with Beetlejuice 2. Beetlejuice, because this movie at the same time feels like a kid or family-friendly horror film, just based on how comical the characters are acting. It's rated PG, but there's a couple of F-bombs in it. That took me by surprise a little bit. So it's one of those movies that back in the day came out in 1988, the year that I was born. The audience watching back home was different than today's audience. So again, I'm very curious on what they'll do with that sequel. As a whole, the story does such a great job giving you a different perspective on what a haunted house even is, especially from the perspective of the spirits and why they want people out of their house in the first place. And everybody there did a great job. There's a lot of actors in this film that I recognize right off the bat that I didn't expect to be in the movie, and they all blend so well into the film. They really take on their characters and give it their all. Honestly, there's not a lot of movies out there that are good for kids when it comes down to scary things. I automatically think of some Disney original films like Halloween Town or Hocus Pocus or things of the nature. But when you watch those movies, in today's age, without the nostalgia of having seen them when you were a kid, you realize how corny and kooky and childish they really are. It does feel like a Disney original movie. Beetlejuice, on the other hand, feels like a film. And it does feel like something that you can watch today, right now, without ever having seen it before, without having nostalgia for it, because it's just instantly that good. I just wish I did have nostalgia for it, because I don't. This was my first time watching it. The visuals in the movie are interesting because half the time they're not good. They're like cheesy, I don't know if it's claymation or bad CGI, but at the same time it fits so well with the tone of the film in general, as well as the fact that there's a lot of great practical stuff going on as well. Makeup, costume design, puppetry. So I have to give the visuals full points anyways, because at the end of the day, it feels like Tim Burton, and it feels like classic Tim Burton at that. This is one of Tim Burton's best, in my opinion. Right up there with Edward Scissorhands. Definitely a rewatchable film, definitely something that you can watch every year, somewhere in the month of October. It's just a film that immediately, to me, feels classic. It was probably an instant classic in 1988, but in 2024, I still think it's an instant classic. If I had to rate this, I would definitely put it in the ballpark of a low 90s score, so like an A-. It does a lot right. But what about you guys though? Are you a fan of Beetlejuice? Are you like me and have never seen it until now? Let me know, and as for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit the like, subscribe button, and bell to be notified when I come out with my next review. And until then, peace out.